Okay. So, how everyone's always talking about dieting and willpower?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're kind of flipping the script today.
Oh, cool.
We're diving deep into this book, How Not to Diet,
I've heard of that.
by Dr. Michael Greger.
Okay.
And he's like this physician, New York Times bestselling author,
Yeah.
just all-around nutrition guru.
Yeah, he's got that website, right?
Yeah, nutritionfacts.org.
Nutritionfacts.org.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It really is. And he tackles this idea that, obesity is such a problem.
It is, right?
We're like 10 times fatter than we were a century ago.
Oh, wow.
And his argument is that it's not about our willpower failing. It's about how our biology just clashes with the modern food landscape.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like,
we're not designed to handle all this.
yeah, we're like driving a Model T on a Formula One track.
Exactly.
And that's where I think his term CRAP comes in.
Oh, yeah. Calorie-rich and processed.
Calorie-rich and processed.
Yeah.
And he argues that this CRAP is at the heart of the obesity epidemic. It makes sense.
Because it hijacks our taste buds, messes with our hormones.
Right.
And just makes it so much harder to maintain a healthy weight.
Yeah, you just can't stop eating it.
So it's not just about eating less, right?
Uh-huh.
It's about understanding how these foods are actually changing how our bodies function.
Yeah, like how our body's responding to them.
Exactly. And one of the key culprits he talks about is the lack of fiber in these processed foods.
Oh, yeah. Fiber's so important.
Think about it. An apple versus apple juice,
Okay.
same fruit, but the juice is stripped of all that fiber.
Right.
Which leads to that blood sugar spike that you don't get with the whole apple.
It makes a huge difference.
He calls fiber this like nutritional unsung hero.
I like that.
And it's crazy how little most Americans get. Less than 5% meet the recommended daily intake.
That's a scary thought.
It is, and that kind of explains why we feel hungry so quickly after eating processed foods.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because fiber is what keeps you feeling full.
Yeah, it slows down digestion, too.
Yeah. And even helps regulate blood sugar.
It does so much.
So by eating more fiber-rich foods, we're actually working with our biology
Right.
to manage our weight.
Exactly.
And I know he's a big advocate for this whole food plant-based diet
Mm-hmm.
that's rich in those fiber superstars, non-starchy vegetables, fruits, legumes.
Those are all good things.
It's about crowding out the CFRAP
Yeah.
with foods that actually nourish our bodies and keep us satisfied.
Makes you feel good.
Now, this is where I get a little confused.
Okay.
The whole glycemic load thing,
Oh, yeah.
I don't quite.
It's a little bit of a
Yeah,
tricky
it's-
concept.
So it's not just about avoiding carbs altogether.
No, not really. It's more about how different carbs affect your blood sugar.
Okay.
You've got those low glycemic load foods. They release sugar slowly.
Okay.
So you don't get that energy crash and the cravings that can make it so hard to stick to a diet.
So like swapping white bread for whole grain.
Yeah.
It's not just about the carbs.
It's about choosing something that won't make your blood sugar spike.
Gotcha. So it's about making smarter choices,
That's it.
not depriving yourself.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I do appreciate about Dr. Breger is he doesn't shy away from calling out the villains
Right.
in our food environment.
Yeah.
He's pretty outspoken about sugar, fat, and meat.
Oh, yeah. He definitely has strong opinions.
Yeah, and he makes a really compelling case that fat, especially from animal products, is more easily stored as body fat than sugar.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive.
It is.
But the research is there.
Okay.
And of course, he emphasizes, minimizing added sugar, which we consume in crazy amounts these days.
Oh, yeah. Way too much.
12 times more than 200 years ago,
Wow.
which is just mind-boggling.
It is.
And then there's this whole argument about animal agriculture actually contributing to obesity by breeding animals to be fatter,
Oh, wow.
which is just,
That's a new one.
it's a provocative point for sure.
It is.
And then he also dives into the nutritional power of legumes.
Mm-hmm. Legumes.
Yeah.
Like beans.
Yeah, beans, lentils, all that.
Okay.
He highlights this fascinating cultural example. Hispanic Americans,
Okay.
who often eat beans and lentils regularly,
Yeah.
they have a lower risk of certain chronic diseases even when facing socioeconomic challenges.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's like, wait,
So their diet is helping.
yeah, is something as simple as adding more beans to our diet actually making a difference?
That seems too simple.
I know, but that's what the research suggests.
Whoa.
Legumes are these nutritional powerhouses. They're packed with protein, fiber, essential nutrients,
Okay.
and they're incredibly filling.
Oh, that's good.
So you're less likely to overeat later.
Makes sense.
So I'm starting to see this pattern.
What's that?
It's not about deprivation.
Okay.
It's about choosing foods that work with our bodies, to promote both weight loss and overall health.
Yeah, I like that.
And this brings us to one of his key concepts, calorie density.
Calorie density?
He argues that you don't need to restrict portions if you're eating foods with low calorie density.
So you can eat a lot and still lose weight.
That's what he's saying.
It sounds pretty good.
It does, right? It's like mind-blowing. He says we can actually eat a large volume of food and still lose weight as long as we choose the right foods.
That's a game changer.
It really is.
So like what kind of foods?
Think fruits, veggies, legumes.
Okay.
They're high in water and fiber,
Yeah.
which means they fill you up without a ton of calories.
I get it.
So it's not about feeling hungry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about choosing foods that naturally satisfy us and keep us full for longer.
So you don't even feel like you're dieting.
Exactly.
That's great.
And when you combine that with, the other strategies we've talked about, increasing fiber, managing glycemic load,
All right.
you're setting yourself up for sustainable weight loss.
Makes sense.
It's not a quick fix.
It's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, I like that. One thing that really struck me about Gregor's approach is how he kind of reframes willpower.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just saying like, grit your teeth and try harder.
Right, just white knuckle it.
He's saying that relying on willpower alone is almost like setting yourself up for failure.
It's like swimming upstream.
Exactly.
They're eventually going to get tired.
You can't keep fighting that current forever.
So it's about changing our environment and our habits to make those cravings less intense in the first place.
Right, make it easier on yourself.
And this is where his emphasis on the mind-body connection comes in.
Okay. The mind-body connection.
It's not just about what we eat.
Right.
It's about how we think and feel about food and how our lifestyle impacts our eating habits.
Yeah, stress plays a huge role.
Exactly.
Like when you're stressed, you just want to eat everything.
Yeah, and he's a big advocate for mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Not just in our daily lives.
Right.
But specifically around food.
Oh, interesting.
Paying attention to our hunger cues, savoring our food, eating without distractions.
So really being present when you're eating.
Exactly.
Not just shoveling it in.
I've tried that, and it's amazing how often I realize I'm not actually hungry.
Yeah.
I'm just bored or stressed.
It's so easy to do.
It really is, and Gregor takes it even further.
Oh, really? How so?
He says our physical surroundings can actually impact our food choices.
So like if I've got a bunch of junk food on my counter, I'm more likely to eat it.
Exactly. It's like setting yourself up for success by removing those temptations.
That makes sense.
And speaking of setting yourself up for success, let's talk about portion control.
Okay. Portion control, that's a big one.
He basically says if you're focusing on those low-calorie density foods we talked about,
right, the fruits and veggies,
you don't really need to obsess over portion sizes.
That's interesting.
He argues that those foods are so naturally filling and low in calories that you can eat until you're satisfied without overdoing it.
So you're saying I don't have to count calories?
That's what he's suggesting.
Wow, that would be amazing.
It's almost like giving us permission to trust our bodies to tell us when we've had enough.
Yeah, and not rely on some external measurement.
And there's research to support this.
Oh, really?
People who follow this approach tend to consume fewer calories overall without feeling deprived.
That's huge.
It really is.
It's like a total mindset shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No more calorie counting, no more measuring out every bite, just choosing the right foods and listening to your body.
I like it.
And then he takes it another step further with this idea of personalization.
Personalization.
He's big on the idea that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to weight loss.
Yeah, everyone's different.
Everybody is different. What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
So he encourages readers to experiment with different strategies and find what works best for them.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. It's like creating your own personalized weight loss roadmap.
I love that.
And he doesn't shy away from those common challenges.
Like what?
Like plateaus and setbacks.
Oh, yeah. Those are the worst.
He offers specific strategies for overcoming those hurdles and emphasizes that setbacks are normal.
They are.
It's not about beating yourself up.
Right. Just get back on track.
Exactly. Keep moving forward. And he talks about the importance of self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Weight loss is a journey.
It is.
And it's important to be kind to yourself along the way.
So true.
Now, I got to say, one thing I found a bit controversial
Okay, what's that?
is his suggestion of weighing yourself twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah, I know. It seems to go against the whole intuitive eating body positivity thing.
It does seem a little old school.
But I think it's important to understand his reasoning.
Okay, what's his reasoning?
He's not advocating for weighing yourself to fuel obsession or self-criticism.
Okay.
He sees it as a tool for self-awareness,
Okay.
a way to track progress and identify patterns in your weight fluctuations.
So you can see how your body's responding.
Exactly. You use the data to inform your choices and see how your body responds to different foods or lifestyle changes.
Okay, so it's more about information gathering
Exactly.
than self-judgment.
It's still a bit much for me,
Yeah, I can see that.
but I can see how it might be helpful for some people.
Right. It's all about what works for you.
And that's the beauty of Gregor's approach.
What is?
He leaves room for that personalization, for finding what resonates with you and helps you achieve your own version of success.
I like that.
It's not about following a rigid set of rules.
Right.
It's about understanding the principles and finding what works for you.
That's empowering.
This has been so eye-opening.
It has.
We've covered so much,
We have.
from the science of weight loss to the mind-body connection to the power of personalization.
It's a lot to take in.
But now I'm curious about those specific strategies he recommends for boosting weight loss.
Oh, yeah, the practical stuff.
How-tos.
Let's get into it.
All right, so we're back, and we've been talking all about how to work with our bodies, not against them, when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah, Dr. Gregor's approach is really about understanding how our biology influences our food choices.
And how to use that knowledge to our advantage, right?
Exactly.
We've covered so much, fighter, glycemic load, calorie density.
Wow. All those foundational principles.
But now I'm really curious about the practical stuff.
Yeah.
Those little hacks or strategies that can give us an extra boost.
Oh, yeah, the How Not to Diet toolkit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things that really stood out to you?
Well, we already talked about that negative calorie preloading.
Right. Eating those low-calorie foods before meals.
Yeah, to kind of fill you up a bit beforehand.
But he's got a whole bunch of other tricks up his sleeve.
He does.
One that I found really surprising was the whole chewing thing.
Chewing.
Yeah, like chewing your food more thoroughly.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought that was just, good manners.
Table manners.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's saying it can actually help with weight loss.
Really?
Yeah, apparently there's research that shows that chewing your food more thoroughly can increase feelings of fullness.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you naturally eat less.
Yeah, because your body has more time to register that it's getting full. Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess slowing down and savoring each bite
Yeah, being more mindful.
could actually be a secret weapon.
Interesting.
I'm going to try it.
Me too.
What else did he have in there?
Well, he's also a big fan of vinegar.
Vinegar.
Yeah, specifically apple cider vinegar.
Okay, I've heard of that.
It can help regulate blood sugar levels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which can help reduce those cravings.
So you're less likely to overeat.
Exactly.
My grandma used to swear by apple cider vinegar.
Really?
For everything.
It's one of those old remedies that actually has some science behind it.
That's cool.
Yeah. How do you use it? He suggests adding a tablespoon or two to water before meals.
Oh, okay. So pretty simple.
Yeah, nothing too complicated.
I like that. Any other simple tweaks?
Well, there's always the classic using smaller plates.
Oh, yeah. The smaller plate trick.
It's a psychological thing.
Right. Like if your plate looks full, your brain thinks you're eating more.
Exactly. Even if the portion size is actually smaller.
It's like tricking your brain into feeling satisfied.
Exactly. It's all about those little mind games.
I love it. But you know what I really appreciate about Dr. Gregor's approach?
What's that?
He's not just about those quick fixes.
Yeah, he's in it for the long haul.
Exactly. He's all about making those sustainable lifestyle changes.
Right, creating habits that you can stick with.
And he provides a lot of guidance on how to actually do that.
Like what kind of things?
Well, it's about, finding joy in healthy eating.
Okay, so not making it a chore.
Exactly. Experimenting with new recipes, finding foods that you actually enjoy.
Right, that make you feel good.
And he talks about, being flexible, acknowledging that there will be setbacks.
Yeah, you're not going to be perfect all the time.
Exactly. And treating those setbacks as learning opportunities, not failures.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
I love that.
It's a much healthier mindset.
And he also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion.
Yeah, being kind to yourself.
This whole deep dive has been so eye-opening.
It really has.
It's like we've uncovered this whole new way of thinking about weight loss.
It's not about deprivation or willpower.
It's about science, compassion, and really understanding our bodies.
Yeah, I think Dr. Gregor's How Not to Diet is a real game changer.
It is. And I think it's a must-read for anyone who's ready to ditch those fad diets and embrace a more holistic approach.
A more sustainable approach.
So if you're ready to take control of your health, create lasting habits, and finally find peace with food,
this is the book for you.
we highly recommend checking it out. It's full of great information and practical strategies.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot.
Well, that's it for our deep dive this week.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to embark on your own journey toward a healthier, happier you.
And remember, it's not about the number on the scale.
It's about feeling good in your own skin.
Having energy and living your life to the fullest.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of health and wellness.
See you next time.